get my 6. What's up, guys and girls? Welcome back here for another video at Homesteading Off the Grid. We've got 2 things we're going to discuss in this video. I know you guys are always trying to figure out which side of the camera I'm going to come from, and I got my shoulder out there. It wasn't much of a guessing game when you saw my shirt coming out, was it? Okay, we're going to talk about what may potentially be a panther, a black panther, that I did finally capture. I captured some sort of feline cat on video today. And this is so ironic. And I'm going to show you the footage. It's about 2 minutes long. You can clearly see the animal. I recorded this footage about 3 hours ago, and this would be the 3rd time this year that I've seen this thing. And that's not even counting the time that I potentially saw it at night, the night it attacked my cat Cleopatra, who, by the way, to this day still, and it's been like 3 months now, does not go outside at night anymore. She used to, from early spring, once it started getting warm, until winter, like super late fall, early winter, she would spend the nights outside because we're in Virginia. Go Who's Go. Congratulations on beating William and Mary yesterday in our 2021 football season opener. We beat William and Mary 43-0. My wife and I were at the game last night. That's the second story I'm going to get to after the animal, whatever this thing is. Black panther, a very large house cat, which none of my neighbors out here have a cat that they let outside other than me. Here's the irony about this. I made a video yesterday sitting from this very spot, and there were several deer behind me, and 3 or more people in the comment section said that at one point they saw like what looked like a large black cat following the deer. You'll have to excuse me. I always make these, I usually make these videos after I eat dinner, and I just ate dinner. So I start talking, and then all the air I swallowed wants to come up. You know what that means, right? We call it a burp, and I'm trying not to on camera. So anyway, it's super ironic that many people in yesterday's video, right back here, stated in the comment section that they saw what appeared to be a cat following those deer. Like we have a free-range deer herd around here. This morning, after my morning bike ride, I did a bike ride this morning instead of run. I walked within 8 feet of one of these deer, and I just didn't make eye contact. And I saw her, and she saw me, and I said, "Don't worry, girl. I'm just doing my cool down walk." And she just let me go right past her, like 8 feet. But yesterday, something was trailing the deer. Could it be what I actually caught on camera about 3 hours ago? I was sitting on the back porch, waiting for my beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girl, to come out of the house because we were going to go pick our son up. He stayed at a friend's house last night because she and I went to the night game. Game wasn't over till like 11, so we got home at like midnight. So I was sitting on the back porch waiting on her, had my cell phone on me, and I stare out across the fruit orchard, and I saw what appeared to be movement underneath some of the Leland cypress trees we've got planted on the other side of the orchard as a privacy hedge. So I'm looking, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a bird, because these were way down by the road. They were probably 200 yards away. But I could tell by the movement it wasn't a bird. There was something large and something dark making its way between the 2 rows of Leland cypresses we've got planted. So I just kept watching, and it stepped out down there at that lower part of the orchard and walked over to the hedge line we planted coming up the side of the orchard. And this is made up of eastern red cedars and some more Leland cypresses. And when it came out of the trees for just like a second, I saw that it was a cat. I was like, OMG. So I broke the phone out. I got 2 minutes worth of footage of it. Have a look at it right here, right now. seen. That is not a domestic cat. That thing is 4 times the size of my cat. Just like last time, it just disappeared. As if it weren't even here. It's gone. It just completely vanished. Wasn't that amazing? And the thing just vanished. And did you notice in that video you could hear it? It was making some kind of odd sound that didn't sound like a cat. So, again, I mean, I've talked about this a couple times this year. Started seeing that thing this spring, probably 6 months ago, coming up out of the area where we just saw in that video it disappeared, going the other way. Then I saw it like a week or so before my wife and son came back from the Philippines, up here on the top part of our property, where I was cutting some gray birch sticks to mail out to somebody that had bought a batch of them on our Etsy store for like their rabbits or guinea pigs, hamsters, chew stick type things. Walked further into the meadow to because I saw that there was a trail there, so I started walking in the trail, and then this thing popped out. It disappeared. I couldn't get my phone out of my pocket quick enough that time, but I did today. So any thoughts are all welcome. Tell me what you think. Neighbor's cat, vivid imagination here, this guy. Is it possible that I have a vivid imagination? No. It's possible that there are so many lunatics in the world, I simply write about them. We're on to story number 2 now. We're about halfway through the video. Time to tell you about the second story. Happened at the game last night with a couple of young, very beautiful lunatics. Here we go. You remember, like even on the back of the book it says, let me read this. By the way, in case I haven't told you lately, you can get your autographed copy of The Lunatic, among other novels I've written, from our Etsy store, and the link is in the description box below. But this thing is keeping people up, like Jenny B and my man Danny over in Huntington, West Virginia. Shout out, mentioned today that I've kept him and his 86-year-old mother up until 2 or 3 in the morning reading these things. But listen to this. It's about so many things, but here's one of the things. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the story illustrates that things are not always as they appear. Listen closely and you'll really appreciate this story. I'm going to tell you about these 2 beautiful young lunatic ladies at the UVA game last night. All right, there's probably a lot more than 2 of them there. These were just the 2 that showed their lunacy. So this story illustrates that things are not always as they appear. What you see is not always what you get, and that's why it's best to believe only part of what you see, and absolutely nothing you hear. Also, well, then it talks about the other things it's about. It's about a lot of stuff. It's a great book. So anyway, So we're at the game last night, and it's halftime. Halftime comes up, right? And when Dearly and I go to the games, we always sit on what's called the fourth side. That's where the student section is. It's on the hill. They used to call, what they call them, Who's on the Hill still. You know, because the Virginia Cavaliers are known as the Who's, the Wahoos, whatever. There's that totally not true rumor circulating that Dr. Seuss used to live in Charlottesville, and he wrote The Grinch That Stole Christmas while he lived here, and so Whoville was Charlottesville, and because the people that lived there were the Who's. That's not true. Dr. Seuss never actually lived in Charlottesville. But would you believe there are so many people that believe that story that if you take like a tour of the town by one of the tour guides, they'll actually tell you that on the tour. And they don't know that it's not true. They actually believe it, but it's not true. How do I know? Dr. Seuss told me. Duh, I'm a writer. We communicate with each other. All right, that's not true either. He's dead, and I never knew him. But it's not true, all right? So anyway, halftime rolls around. Here comes the band out onto the field. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to live stream this. I know there's a lot of folks here. I took the video down this morning. It was only up for 12 hours. 1,600 or close to 2,000 of you saw it before it got taken down. I took it down because at the very end, you can hear what sounds like an altercation. I'm going to tell you what that altercation was. It was two very beautiful lunatics seeing 5% of a situation and thinking they knew the other 95% of the situation. And I was livid when my wife told me about it this morning. Well, she told me about it last night too, but we were into the game and all that stuff. But I was like not going to wear any more of these hats that say this on it and stuff. I was pissed off the way I was judged. But I thought, man, what's that got to do with UVA? Nothing. It has to do with these two college girls who were lunatics. All right. And who saw 5% of a situation and made up the other 95% in a very offensive way. And that's usually how it's done, isn't it? We go around making up stuff about people in our heads that we don't know if it's true or not. It's usually we're not making up the nice things about them, are we? So here's what happened. I took out my phone and I started live streaming the band. I love marching bands, especially college marching bands. You know, and I always talk about how I was a state champion miler back in high school and how I ran track and cross country on scholarship in college. And I was this really, you know, awesome airborne infantryman in the Army, and I was a machine gunner in Iraq. I talk about all these cool things. What I don't talk about is the fact that I was a band geek also in middle school and high school, like king band geek. Played trumpet, French horn, mellophone, and I was the drum major. I wore that big dorky hat with the big plume in it, the big feather and the baton, and I'd throw it in the air in the field shows, and it would spin, and I'd twirl around and come back and catch it. Never missed it in a single show. I missed it once in one parade. Yeah, that was it. Because that's not as cool, is it, as jumping out of airplanes, being a band geek. But hey, you know what? I loved it. And those people aren't geeks. I can see that now, you know. Should have seen it. I should have been talking about this before. I'd finally see it, okay? You know what? These people are talented. They're gifted. They're hardworking. They practice those instruments. I know I practiced my trumpet for hours a day, as much as I trained, you know, to become a state champion miler and get a track scholarship in college. Just anything I've ever done, I just put 100% of myself into it. You know, like writing books like The Lunatic. All right, so the band came out. I start the phone. I'm live streaming. Here's how the story went. Okay, as my wife told it to me, this is what happened. This is what happened. So I'm live streaming, and Dearly's sitting on the hill about 20 feet behind me. So we weren't, you know, close to each other at the time. So I'm live streaming the band, and I'm live streaming the, you know, the audience, the fans, everybody there. And this girl, this college girl, Dearly told me, she saw that I was filming, and she comes up behind me. She walks up behind me. She sneaks up behind me, and she looks into my phone. And she goes like this. She goes, so then she runs back over to her friend, who happened to be sitting beside my wife, and she goes, oh my God, you won't believe how many people's watching this dude's live stream on the internet. Come check this out. I don't know. I wasn't looking to see how many of you all were watching at one time. I know almost 2,000 of you saw it in less than 12 hours. So it was probably quite a few, you know. So then this girl comes back with it, and I couldn't see them. They were behind me, and I'm trying to make sure I don't step on somebody or get bumped into, you know, as people's coming up the hill to go use the restroom or whatever at halftime. So now these two girls are behind me, and they're watching into my phone, and I'm doing this, I'm panning around. It was about an 8-minute long video. So there at the end, I was like, my arm's getting tired. I just want to enjoy the game, and I'm going to stop this. So I go over to Dearly, and she's sitting there, and I said, hey, honey, say bye. And she goes like that. I go, no, come on, say bye. And I hold the phone like that, and she's like, bye, like that. So then I go back to filming. I filmed for like maybe another 20 or 30 seconds. Then I hear some commotion behind me. I hear Dearly yelling, no, that's my husband. And I turn around and I look back. Here's what happened. Once I did that, I filmed Dearly, asked her to say goodbye. Then I went back to keep filming. Those girls approached my wife and they said, oh my God, do you feel unsafe? Do you need us to help you get away from that creepy guy? That creepy guy's creeping on you. Do you want us to help you? We will. And she said, that's my husband. And they went like that, and their eyes got wide, and they took off running. So when I heard her say that I was, that's my husband, I turned around and looked back, and she was looking in the direction of the girls. I looked at the girls, very beautiful young girls. Lunatics! They say all the pretty ones are crazy. Boy, those two proved it last night. But not all of them are crazy. There's plenty that aren't pretty that are crazy too. Look at this guy. I'm pretty. I'm pretty. So, but I am crazy. So maybe there's some validity to it. So anyway, I saw them and their eyes got big and they were just running out of there because they realized, like, oh crap. We kind of might have offended this woman. We didn't realize that guy that we thought was like this old creepy guy. Because Dearly, she was wearing this tight little t-shirt that said Virginia on it, or maybe it said Cavaliers, and these really cute little tight shorts, like cut-off denim shorts with the frilly cut-off thing. She looked like a college student. I mean, you've seen her in her videos and in some of these videos. She's 33, but she dresses like that and sits in the middle of a bunch of college kids. She looks like one of them, you know what I mean? So, I was angry. I deleted the video, and I wasn't even going to wear any more UVA stuff if that's how I'm going to get treated down there, like some old creeper with a phone. But I calmed down. I thought, well, come on, man. That has nothing to do with UVA. And I love those games, and I'm going to keep going. And what other people think of me not only is just none of my business, it's not my problem. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. And so this is an example of where it shows they saw 5% of something. They saw, a post-middle-aged guy going up, with his phone talking to a girl that could have been a college student because she just looked so young anyway. And they assumed I was being a creeper. Had no idea that we had committed the act of holy matrimony together, right? But listen, I'm not going to be harsh on him because we were talking about that today with our son, Daniel. We got him and we went out, got some lunch, dropped the bikes off at the repair shop to get fixed. So just some regular stuff because we ride a lot and so stuff's always needing fixed. And over lunch, well, I told Daniel that story. He thought it was funny, but I said, listen, I'm not going to be hard on those girls because here's the deal. I've been there and I've done that. I remember, when I first moved to Charlottesville in the late 90s, I was like in my mid 20s and I was in the mall and I saw a couple probably in their mid to late 40s pushing a stroller in the mall. They had a baby and the baby is like a year and a half old. And I saw them and I just said, oh, wow, your grandbaby is beautiful. And the woman said, she's our daughter. And they just kept going. And I felt like crap. I did not say that to offend those people. I'm from Appalachistan, and where I'm from, people have babies at 20, not 50. But now Charlottesville, people, it's a higher socioeconomic type community where there are educated professionals and people go out and pursue their careers. And they don't start having kids until they've already got the house, they've got the nest egg, they've got a ton of money in savings and investments. Then they have the kids, you know what I mean? So what I do now is if I'm out and about and if I see people of any age pushing a baby in a stroller and I think that baby's cute, I simply say, what a cute baby. And then sometimes you'll get, oh, thanks, it's our first kid, or oh, thanks, it's actually our granddaughter, but we just, assume nothing, question everything. And another thing this thing's about, mind your own damn business in the first place and it won't matter, now will it? All right, that's all I got for you today. Let me know what you think about that cat. See you for more next time from here at Homesteading Off the Grid and whatever in the hell this channel's about.